Good morning, everybody. I'd like to report under the ranks of non-natural English-speaking people. Actually, I'm from Jutland, presently expatriated to Copenhagen. So I do feel a little bit like a first-generation refugee, but luckily we got bridges now, so I can get out in a hurry if I need to. One of the things, or the things I'm going to talk to you about today is the new standards in a post-Macondo perspective. Now, I have to say it's standards that is adopted by Maersk Drilling. It would have been nice if I could have talked about standards that was adopted by the industry as a general, but unfortunately that is not the case at the moment. So it will be Macondo, post-Macondo initiatives from Maersk Drilling. I also have to say this is going to be a very short introduction. It's going to be scratching the surface. And I'm actually only the warm-up band for the next speaker, because he's the guy with the most important messages to you. But let's just go through the process of what we did. A couple of weeks down from the Macondo incident, our CEO realized, as also we did in Maersk Drilling in general, that the Macondo incident was not a well-controlled incident. It was a lot more than just well-controlled. There was a lot of things going into the Macondo incident that we needed to understand a lot better. So what he did was he issued a memo, and he set up a group of people, 7 people all told, 6 from Maersk Drilling and 1 from Maersk Oil. And we started work in what was then known to be the post-Macondo group from Maersk Drilling. At the end of the day, we came out with a number of recommendations on a way forward for us in Maersk Drilling. And that involved, of course, then Maersk Training, which is the next speaker up here is about the simulator. But let's just briefly go through the process. I think one of the important things here is that we decided quite early on that we would not be looking at this from a perspective of what did the others do wrong. What we did was instead we said, with the information we have, let's look at this information and put it through our own system. So we evaluated based on our own systems. How would we come out if that had happened to us? And I think that approach meant that we had a lot more covered than we would have had if we just looked at what did the others do wrong. And what we did was then had a simple Excel file. It really was a simple Excel file, but it was the basis document that we worked with. And we identified the things as they were known to us, because I think most of you that were a part of or was in the industry in the post-Macondo will remember that information came very sporadically, and there was a lot of different information. So we tried to gather all the information we could from our sources in Houston into this group, and then we evaluated the information as it was available. The purpose, of course, was first and foremost to support our team in Houston. But at the end of the day, we soon realized it was not just about the team in Houston. There was a lot of this that was relevant throughout our industry, throughout all our rigs, whether they worked in Southeast Asia or they worked in the Gulf of Mexico. So there was a lot of things that was common. Roughly about 2 months down the line, the group was dissolved, and we transferred all the actions into our reporting system, Synergy. Now, that did not mean in any way that we stopped the work. And actually, today, there's still a lot of work going on that is based on this post-Macondo group, but it's just not in that reference anymore. But there's still a lot of things going on. And the major outcomes for us, we did some changes to the subsea BOPs. We lifted the working pressure. We increased the pressure, so we are now able to cut 6/5/8 drill pipes in the BOP. I know there was a lot of talking about adding another shear ram. We did not do that because we did not want to complicate an even more complicated equipment. We did not want to raise the weight of the BOP. It's heavy enough already, and putting it on the wellhead of the clients, they were not really happy about that idea. So instead, we raised the operating pressure, and actually we managed in 2011 at a test done in Houston at GE Hydro to cut the drill pipe 6/5/8. So we know it works. Another thing that we dawned upon was crisis management. You might say, why would you include that? Because that was post the incident. For us, that was constant care, one of our values. We said, having a good crisis management setup is an insurance. We never hope we have to use it. But if we have to use it, we will have the best insurance possible. And that was the reason why we included the crisis management tool as well. So what we did was basically we got rid of manual boards and phones and faxes and started a electronic system that works on the internet. And that means that basically, me being here today, I can log on. If we have an incident anywhere in the world, I can log on and I can do my share from this room. The rig managers can travel. They can be anywhere. They don't need to be in the situation room they have to handle the crisis. They can go online and they can do what they need to do. We can talk to each other online. We were nowhere first movers here. There are people in this room who used it long before we did. But what we did in addition was not just set up the room in Copenhagen. We've just rebuilt the whole of our operation worldwide into new crisis management rooms that fits the system. So, and we just finished that in late 2012. So now all our rig teams across the globe has the same setup as we have in Copenhagen. And of course, then moving into the warm-up for the next person, the advanced deep water well control simulator, and I think I'll just let Tony talk about that in details. But I think it's important that the Maersk Developer was the first deep water drilling rig to commence drilling after the moratorium was lifted in the Gulf of Mexico. It was not only due to the post-Macondo group, but a lot of the initiatives in that group did the foundation for us being able to be the first ones out in the Gulf of Mexico and doing the drilling. Thank you.